Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya Luisa, and in today's video we're going to be talking all about the invisible power of your feminine energy. This is a very potent and amazing topic. I can talk about it forever, but I'm going to begin today's video with a story from my favorite movie, Kama Sutra, and it's directed by Mira Nair. If you haven't seen it, you must go and watch it because there's so many life jewels in that movie, and it's just so beautiful and luscious and amazing and passionate, and it's amazing. So in the movie, I'm not going to give it all away, but there's an artist. He's a sculptor, and he's going through a rut in his artistry. He meets a beautiful woman. Her name happens to be Maya, and she, just from her presence, just from looking at her, he is inspired to create art, and he ends up sculpting one of the most amazing pieces of art he's ever created in his life. And as a result of that, he gets to meet the king, and he gets his weight in gold and all of these things. But all of it was inspired by being in proximity, by being in the presence of feminine energy. So what is feminine energy? Feminine energy is the right hemisphere of the brain, and it developed from our evolution. So evolutionarily speaking, we had used to live in groups where it was the women primarily were the gatherers and the nurturers, and the men primarily were the hunters. So we developed in a gathering and nurturing state, meaning that we were very involved with plant life. We were very involved with and entrained into the birth, death, rebirth cycle, plant medicine, all of these things. We were also the ones nurturing, giving life, looking after life. So our spatial awareness is different because we were caring for the children. So we were also, feminine energy is the energy of your intuition. This is where your intuition lies, those gut instincts that we had. This developed out of evolution because we needed to know right away, is this person a predator? Are they going to hurt me? Are they sick? Are they going to, harm me? We needed to know these things, so we had to rely on our gut instincts. Feminine energy is also the energy of the deep feeling of emotion, of having emotional connection, of being able to feel love and passion and falling in love. Feminine energy is also the realm of sacred sexuality. So in the presence of feminine energy, it can inspire creation. So not even just the creation of another child, although that is a huge part of it, but it's also creative energy. And so it does also in the energy of pleasure, the energy of embodying it, the energy of eroticism. So it does, feminine energy does inspire the desire to procreate, for human life to keep going. All of these things, this is the feminine energy. This is a powerful and potent, life-sustaining energy. And so in the West, in Western culture, when we talk about masculine energy, there's a word for it. And the word is power. So we equate masculine energy with power, while like in our mind, we're subconsciously diminishing all of the power of the traits of the feminine energy. But feminine energy is essential to life, and it is deeply powerful and is deeply potent. because it's also not something that you can hold. It's not something you can measure. It's not something that's very tangible. So when you are nourishing, nourishment is invisible. When you're a mother and you're mothering and you're, providing health care for your kids all the time, it's invisible. The kind words that you speak to your loved ones, your presence, your warmth is invisible. When you set the table and you create a home and you cook in that home and you're bringing that warmth to the home and bringing cohesiveness to your family, that's invisible. When you are with your partner and he's telling you about some situation and you're tapping into your feminine energy and tapping into your gut instinct and knowing and guiding and consulting and moving and strategizing with him because you have your instincts and you're saying, hey, you know what, that person right there is no good. That's invisible, yet it's highly, highly potent. Look at any powerful man in the world and you will see a very powerful woman by his side. Also, in just the spoken words, the warmth, the affirmation, the encouragement is invisible. In birth, when a woman is giving birth, the more invisible that you are is actually the most that you help her. And people who are midwives and people who are doulas understand this very well. When you're going into a sacred birth space and you're pushing your energy into this space and you're loud and your perfume is loud and you're talking and you're telling and you're pushing and you're aggressive, you're gonna slow down the birth process for the mother, and you might even stall it. In the birth space, sacred birth space, which is deeply, deeply feminine, we know that the more invisible we are, meaning the more that we just step back and witness, we step back and observe, we sit back and observe the woman in her own process and support her in that way, is the most that we can help her. It's not a pushing, it's a witnessing. When you're witnessing the natural birth process is how you help her the most. There's a quote from a midwife who said, "I'm here to help a woman remember her power, not display mine." That is power. That is power. Because you're reminding, and that's what we do in birth, we remind the birthing mom of her power, because there's a moment when it gets to the ring of fire, there's a moment when it's going through the birth canal, there's a moment when in birth when many women want to give up, and all we have to do is remind her of her power. But it's not by asserting ours, but it's still, you can see, extremely powerful. So when a woman is in her feminine energy, she is evoking and walking with a potency, a life-giving force in her and around her. What has happened to us is that we have equated power with masculine energy. So you have many, many, many women who are not in their fullness of who they are. They're not bringing their fullness of who they are to the table, and therefore they're not fully in their power, because we've been taught to diminish, to suppress our feminine energy, because it has been taught to us as something that is weak, as something that is not worthy of attention. We've been taught that it's something that it's expendable, and that it's not, we have no use for it. These are the things that we've been taught in the West. And so do you see how by diminishing a whole huge part of who we are knocks us off of our power? When we try to be like men, we are not standing in our power. But if you can stand in the fullness of who you are with your emotions, what do emotions do? Emotions bring depth. Emotions bring connection. Emotions allow us to push even further. Emotions allow us to connect very deeply in our relationships. So when you're able to connect with your emotions, that inspires that in your partner, because in masculine energy, they don't have exact access to their emotions the way that we do. They're in the left hemisphere brain is not designed for that. They're designed to not be in their emotions as much as us. But what do emotions do? They bring heartfelt connection, and it's very healthy. So when you're able to hold space for the emotions, when you're able to bring that depth to your relationship, that's what brings beauty and bounty and really open-hearted love in relationships. It's also when we are in our feminine energy, when we're in our pleasure, when we're in our embodiment of the feminine energy, then we are inspiring creativity all over the planet. All over the planet. Because that is creation energy. We're talking about the Svadhisthana chakra. We're talking about the second chakra underneath the navel and the root chakra. This is the womb. This is where creation happens. This is where the feminine energy thrives and lives. And so when we are in that creation energy, there's more art, there's more regard for life, there's more renewal, there's more, just more bounty, more life, more respect for life, and all of these things. So being in your feminine energy is being in your true power. And the more that we embody, the more that we embrace, the more that we celebrate the feminine, the more the feminine rises in the world, I think this will bring more balance, more harmony to what we see happening in the world. So I want you to always remember that your feminine energy is inherently powerful in a different way of how we define power. And that the more that you step into your femininity, the more you're stepping into your wholeness, the true expression of who you are. And you bring all of those gifts, your intuition, your passion, your creativity, those gut instincts, when you bring all of the fullness of who you are to your life, to your sacred service of what you do, to your relationships, to your romance, to your mothering. That is how you truly step into your power as a woman. And yes, it is invisible, but it's so potent. Think of the moon, think of the tides, think of your power. It's not something that we can, is tangible. It's not something that we can just put it in a bottle. It's invisible, it's potent, it's real. So if you need help to step into your feminine, if you want guidance, if you want more of like a container of, okay, this is the step by step, you're more than welcome to join us in Kole Radiant Goddess Sacred Feminine Dance. This is the crown jewel of my feminine energy work. So I'm putting all of my teachings, the embodiments, the dancing, the breath work, the stretching, all of the juiciness is inside that course. So I hope that you enjoy this video. I hope that you learned, and I hope that you step into the fullness of your power, your invisible power as a feminine energy blessing on this earth. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace and love.